Okay, g'day guys, I'm here with my young friend Sam and he's learning how to do a two-story in Plusspec. So I guess do you already know how to do the ground floor walls, Sam?
Well, ground floor wall, just any wall?
Well, yeah, a full set of walls on the ground floor. I'm going to show you.
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is, this is the height of our walls, this is the height of the top of the windows, and this is the type of construction we're going to build out of. So external cladding would be like, it could be fibro or weatherboard or, you know, all those kind of things. And then you've got houses that are made out of brick. So you might have brick veneer, which is brick on the outside and timber on the inside. This one down here is reverse brick veneer, which is actually brick on the inside and timber and cladding on the outside. Right? Double brick, which is bricks both sides. I'm going to draw one out of brick veneer today, but there's a whole heap of different types in here. So you've got block walls, multi-skin walls, which could be insulation inside of cavities and so on. I don't think we'll get that far into it today. Let's just go with brick veneer. Okay, so we've chosen a brick veneer wall. This construction mode here, basically that just means, is the wall going to be sloped on the top? So it could be a gable, which is like a peak, or it could be sloped one way. But usually when you always draw your walls, you always draw with standard first. If you do have to put a slope wall on it, you can write in the pitch or the ratio in which you do it. So that's handy to know. In here are timbers and so on. So this is the size of the timber you're going to put inside the wall. And a whole heap of things that probably at your age you don't really need to understand, but we can explain them later. Okay, so we're just going to go in here and we're going to draw a standard wall. So you've also got materials, which is the type of material you're going to use on the outside and inside. So what type of bricks you're going to use, what type of internal lining you're going to use, what type of insulation, all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure whether you need to know. And I'm going to go submit. Okay. So essentially we haven't got anything to trace over. So really all we're doing is just drawing a house from scratch. And we can make it any size we want to, and any type of house that we want to. Notice that see it snaps to that line there? That means that it's square. So if I looked at it top down, on an axis, that's right, yep. Okay, and I go back to here. Now this is the one that we probably want to know a little bit more about. If I want it to line up with here, I really need to push shift when it's on the axis. Right, so I'm going to push shift, and I'll just hold my mouse to the end here, and you'll notice it's kind of snapped to it. Right, and I clicked, right, and now I have, I guess, what would be considered a ground floor. Okay, but you want to go for a two-story house, right? There's a couple of ways we could do it. We can put a two-story house on top of all of it, and I'll show you how to do that one first. So what I can do is I can go right-click, walls, and I can generate, see here, generate. It actually says roof face from walls, but we actually want to put timber flooring on there, so I'm going to go roof face from walls. And all it's done is given me this dotted line here, which basically has lined up with the inside of the wall and did it for us automatically. Okay, now I could actually just click on here and say, so we'll click up here, and I could just say, well, what sort of floor do I want to use? Does it want to be a concrete floor? Does it want to be a timber floor, which would be joists and so on? Usually for cost of construction, a timber floor would be cheaper than a concrete floor. Okay, so I'm going to use timber floor in this example. And what I'm going to do, these are the size of the timbers and everything. You can just use what's default in there if you want to. And these are bearers which go underneath, and I'll show you how they work in a second. Okay, I'm going to go submit. We don't want to put bearers in there. And I'm going to tell it which way I want my floor timbers to run. So I'm going to say this way. Okay, and what it did, it put in all of my floor timbers, right, which basically will hold it up. If I look underneath there, you can see there's all my timbers. But obviously we're going to need a stairwell as well, aren't we? Okay, so there's a couple of ways we could do it if we want to get inside. Because I haven't put a floor underneath here, I can quite easily get underneath here and say, okay, I'm going to go to my stairs. And I can choose the type of stairs. So all I'm doing is just scrolling through here to choose what type of stairs that I want to use. Okay, so I think we might use, say we use this one. Okay, go submit, and by default it's kind of picking the level that we want it to be, so we can move them around wherever we want them to go. So I could click there and say, okay, I now have the opportunity to change the height of my stairs, but you can see that at the moment they're a little bit too tall. I could get a measurement and figure out how high those stairs were going to go. I'm going to let them run through for the moment, and I'm just going to move my stairs over a little bit, okay? I'm going to move them to say there. Okay, and inside of here, it actually has a thing here that says show header height and space. What that allows us to do is figure out when you walk up the stairs whether you actually are going to hit your head on the floor. Because, you know, if you're tall, you don't want to hit your head on the floor as you walk up. So let's have a look. Here, and I'm going to say yes. Go down and go submit. And see what it did? It put like a surround around it. Right, so now we can actually go and we can cut a hole in our floor very quickly. So all I do is I select the floor, and close this down now. Select the floor, and I can right click the floor, and down the bottom here it says joist, add void. I'll show you what that does. Add void. I can go and trace around here very, very quickly, or I could go underneath it and trace around here. It's better to trace under here because this is where you'll actually bang your head. Okay. So all I'm really doing is just navigating around so I can touch on all these lines. See, see it's got that purple cross there? That's telling me that the line is intersecting with something. Okay, so I'm going to go here as well. See the purple cross? It's hard to find sometimes, because we're right next to a joist. This one's really difficult to find. There it is there. Right. Zoom out. So I think the key to doing this is zooming out properly and navigating, which is probably the hardest thing about all of this, is basically just navigating. Okay, now let's have a look at what happened on the top. Okay, so let's have a look. You see that? It actually cut my stairs out for me. Now if I want to get rid of this because it's a bit of a distraction, I can go back and go to stairs, edit stair. I can just turn this off now. So we know we have sufficient ceiling height. So I'm going to say no. Go to the bottom and go submit. You can put notes in about the stairs too if you want to, but for the purpose of the exercise. Right, so now we have a stair that goes in and goes to the top. You can see that the stair's too high. So we need to know how high that stair's going to be. Right, I can adjust it if I want to. And now I can actually go and put my second story on, my second floor. So just watch this. So I'm going to go and say I'm going to use exactly the same type of wall. Okay. Right, so exactly the same type of wall, but you can see with the bottom of this wall down here it's flat. See? The best thing about having the sizes written on the side of the joist, see it says 290, that's 290 millimeters high, plus 20 millimeters flooring. So what's 290 plus 20?
310.
That's right, 310. So if I go to here, manual overrides, and I say the external step down for the joist or the concrete is 310 millimeters. 310 millimeters, okay? And then I go down and go submit. Right? Now what that's allowing me to do is when I draw my walls, they're going to actually come down to here. Right?
The same with the slab.
That's right, exactly the same as a slab. Yep. Here, 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 and here. Alright, now you can see that I have one complete brick wall. Pretty good, right? Now, sometimes, not all the time do ground floor and upstairs line up. So sometimes they've got a roof downstairs or something like that. So it's possible now to go in here and say, well, I actually want to move these walls out. So I might say, well, I want this wall to come out here for an entry or something like that. I'll show you how to do that. I go to my wall tool, I've got push-pull wall, and I can say, well, I want this wall to move out 1 metre. Push enter, and now it moved that out. So I can start to mould my house downstairs. If I want to go up and create my roof, I can just right click on the top wall and go wall, generate, roof from walls. Okay, you can choose the type of roof that you want to do, whether it be concrete or metal or whatever. So I might say I want to use metal tiles. You can choose the pitch of the roof, and in some countries they use a thing called ratio, which is basically 1/2 or something like that. Okay, type of gutter that we want to use, so we might say we want to use, I don't know, flat back gutter, whatever. The height of our fascia, now that's what goes underneath the gutter. It's the vertical piece underneath the gutter, you'll see it in a second. And soffit, this is the eave overhang that the roof overhangs. So I'm going to say in here 600. Okay. The rafter height and the batten thickness at your age you probably don't need to know, but essentially it's the timber that holds the roof up. Okay. If you'd make this bigger, the roof will basically be higher. I'm going to go submit. Okay. And now you can see I have my roof on there, but I still need a roof down here. Alright. So what I need to do, technically, what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to create all of these scenes. Okay, so if I click this camera button here, and I'm just going to go all, okay, and what it's done at the top here, you can see that it's creating all of these scenes. And what do they mean? What do they do? What they allow us to do is to look at it like a plan, or look at it as a structure. Right? So now we can see what we drew. Right? And I know that I actually need a roof to go in here. There's two ways I can do it. I can do it from here. So I could draw a rectangle from here. And what it's actually going to do is put my roof through my brickwork, but sometimes that's a good thing because it allows for a little bit of waste. So I just draw a rectangle, and I'm going to click on this rectangle here. Oops, a bit of a mistake there. And I can go back to all, and you can see I have my face there, and I can put a roof through here. Alright. If I didn't want the roof to go through the bricks, I would actually create another face. So I'll delete this. Okay, I've deleted it. So I just push the delete button, and I go rectangle from the outside. So every time we actually build a roof, we build it from the outside of the inside wall. Alright, does you understand that?
Not really.
Okay, well what it is that, see, bricks here, they absorb water. So we don't want water getting onto timber because it'll rot.
Yeah.
Right? So what we do, every time someone builds a house that has two skin walls, you would usually make this where you put your timber on.
So if it was here, it would rot because of the water.
That's right, because bricks suck water. That's the technical reason, yeah, and it's good for you to know. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that face. You see when blue and dotted? And now go back to my roof, go up to here, and it's going to create a roof with 4 sides, and that's not exactly what we want, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how we fix it. I'm going to go submit, and see that? I didn't want the roof to slope back in here, and I didn't want the roof to slope back in here. So what I do is I click on the roof, and I go back to my roof tool, and you see this one with the red roof editing tool? So if I click on that, watch what happens. See that went red? And now it's going to say, well, how much do I want it to overhang and what angle do I want it to be? 90 degrees is straight up, which is what I want to do because the wall's at 90 degrees to it. And I don't want an overhang, so I'm going to go 0 and go submit. Right? Now you can see that it actually slopes against what I wanted to do. But over here, I still have the same thing. I don't want this roof going back down there, so I click on the roof again. And I go to here, and I go to here.
Same thing.
Yep, but I want no overhang, because I don't want it to overhang inside the wall, and go submit. Okay, now you can see that I have everything that I require in there to do it. So I have stairs, I've got a lot of work done there very quickly. The next thing I need to do is put a floor in there. You can start with the floor if you want to, everyone likes to do things different ways, but I'm going to select on this here, and I'm going to right click, walls, and I'm going to generate floor face from walls. You'll notice it's already selected, so it's blue dotted. I want a concrete floor downstairs, okay? So I clicked on my concrete floor, and I can give it a thickness, and it is on the ground floor, which is what we wanted to do. But down here I also have the ability to allow for the offsets here. Now usually brickwork is 160, but it can be changed to whatever you might have. The thing in here is called a cavity. The distance between here and here is called a cavity, and that can be adjusted in the wall. By default, Plusspec sets them up as what's standard in the industry to save people having to write in measurements that they shouldn't have to over and over. And this is the depth of the footing, so it's a concrete that goes into the ground. This is the recess width, and this is the recess depth. So I can change this, or I can leave it at 172, and I'll show you what happens here. I'm going to go submit. Because I didn't tell my walls that I had a recess, they're actually sitting up. So basically the bricks are floating. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to click on a wall, right click, and select every single connected wall. You could go and do that manually with shift and select, like you would with text or something like that, but it's easier just to click all the selected walls. Okay, and now when I go to here, I can, that's right, so down the very bottom it's got a manual override, which basically means that we're going to tell it what we need to do. And the distance in there was what, do you remember?
172, I think.
That's right, 172, which is actually the coursing of the bricks. I'm going to go submit. And now my walls all line up. So if I actually looked at it as I would if it was on a 2D plan, you can see that I'm looking at my elevations, they're called. Right? I prefer to draw in 3D, but you can still draw like this. So now if I want to go and put a door in, I go to my door tool. So I selected the wall first, so it went blue. And then I can go and put in a swinging door. Or you can scroll through and have all different types of doors, okay? Go submit. And you'll notice down the bottom here where my mouse is, it's giving me a measurement. And you'll notice down over here these measurements are coming through as well. Right? So I can type in measurements that I want to. So I could say 1 metre.
Would you have to type in 2 because it's from...
No, because you can do that in the next step. But it's a good question. I'm typing 1 metre, and it started from 1 metre from the outside of the wall. From the outside of this part of the wall there, you see. Now I can say, well, how wide do I want the door? And most doors are made in sizes that you can usually buy, so 820, 620, 720, and most people know what those sizes are. But because I've got a double door here, I'm going to put in 2 doors, 1640. You go enter. Right, you see now I have a double door in there. It also put in the bit over top to hold up the brickwork for me. It did that automatically. Okay. And now I can have a look around my house, and I can go and put windows in and everything the same way. So if I want to put a window in here, I would actually go to here, select what type of window I want to use. Here it's an AWS double hung window. I'm happy with that. And go down here and go submit. You don't even have to push submit, you can actually do it without submit. Okay. And I'll put one window in here. You can write in these measurements where you want these windows to line up with if you want to. And let's now put my windows in.
So in the settings of the wall, you
Yep.
choose how high
That's
from
right.
the ground.
That's correct. The settings of the wall choose from the finished floor level to the top of the window, and that's what judges it. So to answer that question a little bit better maybe, you go to here, and at the top here you'll see I can change the height. So if I said that I want the top of my windows to be at, I don't know, what do you think, 1900?
Yeah.
And go submit. I'll just quickly draw a wall. It means that when I go and put my window in, the top of the window will be 1900.
Away from the ground.
Away from the ground, from finished floor level, that's right. Right, and if I want to take a measurement to check that, I can just draw a line from here to here, and that will give me, well, this one's got a step down, you see, that's plus 172, because that was the last step down that I did. But if I went on the inside of the wall, because remember I said from finished floor level?
Yep.
From the inside of the wall, you'll see that there's a difference in height there. So basically,
Because the step down's there, but there's no slab.
that's exactly right. So the distance up to here, if I push shift to here, I now have 1900 see down the bottom there. And if I wanted to mention that, well, I usually always keep it at 2100 because a door is usually 2100 high. Okay?
Yeah.
You reckon you can have a go at that?
Okay.
Alright, cool. Thanks, mate.